Your brain is physically incapable of focusing on your daily tasks and the big picture at the same time. If you feel like you can't do both, it's not because you aren't talented. It's because your brain isn't hardwired for it. Today, we're diving into a groundbreaking concept from researchers at MIT Sloan and Indiana University called scope bias, and why it is the silent killer of both ethics and creativity in the workplace. Before we look at the business impact, we have to look at the hardware. Neurological science tells us that human attention is a finite resource. Think of it like a flashlight beam. You can focus it into a tiny, intense point to see a specific detail, or you can widen the lens to see the whole room. But you cannot do both simultaneously. Research by Cristiano L. Guarana and his colleagues has identified a specific cognitive trap, scope bias. It's defined as an individual's restricted attention to either narrow factors, your specific job, or broad factors, the entire organization. To prove this, researchers conducted a study on ethical behavior. They asked participants to write about how they would improve performance, which forces a narrow focus, or why they would do it, which forces a broad focus. The results were startling. People with a narrow focus were hypersensitive to ethics that affected individuals. But people with a broad focus? They were hypersensitive to ethics that affected the company. Essentially, where you look determines what you care about. If you are focused on your desk, you might completely miss a massive ethical storm brewing in the department next door. And this is where it gets dangerous for your career. We often think that the most engaged employees, the ones who are most locked in, are the most creative. The data says otherwise. In a series of 4 studies across multiple industries, researchers looked at the link between job engagement and creativity. They found a consistent and chilling effect. First, in-role creativity. Highly engaged employees are great at coming up with new ideas for their specific tasks. This is narrow focus at work. But then, there's out-role creativity. These same star employees performed poorly when asked to generate ideas to improve the company as a whole. Because they were so focused on doing their job well, they lacked the broad focus necessary to innovate at a higher level. In simple terms, being too good at your job might actually be stopping you from being a leader. So, if our brains can't do both, is the strategic thinker a myth? Not exactly. But it's not an individual problem. It's a system problem. Imagine an engineer on a massive offshore oil rig. He sits in a control room with dozens of monitors. He can see patterns, maybe a vibration in Unit A that will cause a leak in Unit B 3 hours from now. Meanwhile, the workers on the deck of Unit A are working diligently. They are experts in their unit, but they can't see what the engineer sees, and the engineer can't feel the heat of the machinery like they can. Neither is wrong, but they are operating in different scopes. The oil company doesn't just tell the deck worker to be more like the engineer. Instead, they build structures where they must interact, exchange data, and troubleshoot together. If you want to be a strategic thinker, or if you are a manager who wants a more strategic team, you have to stop fighting biology. You need to implement organizational switching. Here is how we can look at the limitation of attention mathematically. Total focus equals focus narrow plus focus broad. Since total focus is a constant based on human biology, if you increase one, the other must decrease. To solve this, organizations need 3 things. 1. Cross-functional interaction. Don't just stay in your silo. Create routines where marketing, legal, and accounting actually talk. 2. Scheduled focus shifts. You cannot be strategic while answering Slack messages. You must physically and mentally move to a broad focus environment. And 3. Accountability measures. Reward employees not just for their narrow KPIs, but for their broad, collaborative actions. The bottom line. Next time your boss tells you to think strategically, don't just try to work harder. Realize that you need to shift your scope. You can't see the forest while you're inspecting the bark of a single tree. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next briefing.